Well, we finally made it. I've wanted to come up to this place for a long time. We're up at Diefenbaker here in Saskatchewan. Big, long reservoir, renowned for good fishing, especially walleye fishing. World record trout have come out of here. I mean, it's really a cool place. And I don't know, the last couple of years, we've been doing some exploring up in Saskatchewan, and there's just some phenomenal fisheries in Saskatchewan. We were at Last Mountain last year and really blown away by that. We were up at Tobin Lake the year before that, and this was kind of the next thing on my radar. Like, you know what, I gotta get to Diefenbaker. I've never fished here before, and so pretty excited to be here.
Yeah, so the reservoir starts back at Gardner Dam, and we're looking at 140 miles total distance and 500 miles of shoreline. So there's just phenomenal structure along these shorelines and just unlimited spots. It seems like even, I fished on the lake here for 35 years, and it seems like there's just new structure and new spots you find all the time. It's just always changing in elevation with water levels. So yeah, just a great fishery for sure.
Got him. Yeah, that's a fun way to catch a fish, you know what?
So much fun, yeah.
All right. This is getting a little bigger.
Oh, nice.
Oh yeah, nice walleye. Nice walleye. There we go. Go ahead and just leave her in the water right there.
Okay.
Keep her wet. That's a great looking fish.
Yeah, just popped the hook there as soon as we got him in the net there too. So
that is a great walleye. I just love how they club these glide baits. Just a fun way to fish. You see the most aggressive reaction there is from a walleye. They just club them. Fun fishing. That's just a beautiful fish. Look at that hump on the shoulder there. Very healthy looking walleye. The thing is, look at it, it's beautiful. It's finally summer. I'm sure you guys have had the same weather, wind, rain, kind of a cold spring. And now the forecast for this week, 90 degrees most days. It's hot, it's summer. And so, I imagine, across the board, we're gonna start to see a lot of fishing patterns change. And come midsummer, I tell you what, one of my favorite things to do is work these glide baits. There's a lot of different reasons why these work. We'll show you why and how to work these baits on this show here. Hopefully we keep catching fish like that, but that just catches a lot of fish. From what I can see, looking at a map of Diefenbaker, it's just a long reservoir. And obviously there's these coulees that come into the reservoir where you've got some channel edges and you've got the old river channel, but there's a tremendous amount of points, structures that are coming off the shoreline going out into that old river channel. And this lake is long and it's a lot bigger than what it looks like on a map. But basically, there's some pretty good mapping of this lake, and it's just a matter of hitting points, and just walleye fishing 101 like you'd find anywhere else in the world, in the sense if there's wind blowing in on a point, it makes the spot that much better. There's a lot of fish right through here.
nice.
Got one. Little one. Hey, you never know, it's getting bigger. Pull us out here. There we go. All right. Thank you, sir. Boy, that was cool. That fish hit it on the drop. It didn't even hit the bottom. It cast it out, fish on. That is so cool. We'll get this fish out here and show her off. When these fish hit these glide baits, there's no doubt in your mind. They're just all over it. Just a thump. Cool strike. Yeah, we're getting just a little bit of chop, which definitely doesn't hurt today. It's supposed to get 95 degrees here today, and it's already warming up. And I guess that's going to be the theme here. It took a little while to get here, but now it's finally after the 4th of July. it's going to start warming up, starting to see some of these summer patterns emerge, you know. And so basically prominent points, main lake structure. That fish was probably a little shallow. I mean, the bull was in 14 feet. I cast it up on a fish. I saw him guessing in maybe 10, 11, 12 feet of water. But I guess the theme or the point I want to stress is that, you know, realistically, you know, things are going to change pretty quick here now. We're going to start to see some of this midsummer stuff kick in. It's taken a while, but it's finally here.
One thing with Lake Diefenbaker is we're renowned for our structure that we have here. Being a reservoir, we have just some real steep drop-offs, we have rocky points, and we also have our bays or coulees. So it's just a matter of hunting where those fish are on any given day or any season where we're fluctuating in water depth and water temperature. So it's one thing that makes Diefenbaker so unique is that beautiful structure that we have. And it just makes it for such a great fishery.
Oh!
just gonna make the plunge and you got us. Yeah, nice fish, Jason.
Good stuff, huh?
Yeah,
Good
you
stuff.
bet.
This is fun. And what a beautiful place to catch a fish too. I mean, this is cool. This is really cool. It came off in the net. Just all the fish that we're seeing on the side imaging, on the active target. The wind's blowing in on this point here. This spot is just loaded with fish. There she goes. While we've been up here, you know, it's, I guess we call early to mid-July. It's been a cold, windy spring so far. Water temperatures are starting to creep up into the mid-70s. And it's starting to finally feel like summer. I mean, forecast for this week, 90 degrees all week long, and so it's gonna be hot. And so we're finally starting to see these midsummer patterns kick in. And I tell you what, come midsummer, it seems like the glide baits in particular really start to shine. And here's the reason why, at least in my opinion. I feel like you get later on this summer and it's like these fish suspend so much more, in the sense that even if you're in 12 feet of water, these fish might be 3 or 4 feet up off the bottom. If you're in 20 feet of water, these fish might be 6 or 8 feet up off the bottom. They're all over in the water column. And I feel like a glide bait, when you hop and give that glide bait a pop, it comes up off the bottom where these fish can see it. And so if you're dragging a jiggle on the bottom or dragging a bottom bouncer along the bottom, you're gonna catch fish that are on the bottom. But I'm telling you, just from using forward-facing sonar, a lot of the fish are off the bottom. And I think that's why glide baits like the pitching puppet work so well come midsummer, is that if you have a fish that's positioned 4 or 5 feet off the bottom, what that bait does, it pops up and it comes in front of that fish momentarily, then it glides back down to the bottom, and those fish basically just chase it down to the bottom and pin it next to the bottom. And that's one of the things that we're learning about forward-facing sonars. For years we had in our heads where you had a fish above the fish and make the fish come up. The fish have eyes on top of their head, always fish above the fish. That's something I'd heard in fishing for years. Now we're starting to realize that a lot of the things that we thought we were wrong, in the sense if you get in front of the fish, those fish have no problem chasing that bait and pin it to the bottom. So that's why a lot of your strikes occur letting that bait fall on slack line and it hits the bottom and those fish are just right on it. You just feel them. Boom. You know, you lift up and the fish are there. And so they're very effective, very deadly come midsummer. There we go. There's about 4 of them right in front of the boat, about 30 feet. Gotta love that. There we go. Nice. Fish hit it with some authority, I can tell you that. That fish clubbed that bait. Yeah. That'd be just I guess what I would consider just a great fish for the live well. If you're just coming out and eating fish, which we've got some steaks in the cooler, so we're not gonna maybe mess with that tonight. By tomorrow, we'll probably start keeping some fish, but that would be perfect. And I love coming to places where you can catch, you know, what I would consider good eaters. You know, fish less than 20 inches, but then you catch enough big fish to keep it interesting, because you know what? I love catching big walleyes. I love catching all walleyes, but you throw some big ones in the mix, and to me it makes it that much better. All right, so this is what we're doing here. This is just that pitch and puppet. You can see here, big oversized fin, and I like that. It's just got a big single hook on the back. I don't like those little hooks. Glide baits have a little hook on the front, a little hook on the back, because you lose so many fish on them. That oversized fin I like. I feel like it just gives that bait more lift, more glide on the bottom. where I feel like I don't have to pop it quite as hard. You know, just short hops, you can experiment a lot. I mean, there's a lot of different cadences that work, but I find that just an easier bait to work, especially like if you're a guide and you're taking people that maybe don't fish glide baits a lot and they get wore out, snapping that rod. I feel like that pitch and puppet's one of the easier baits to work by far. It doesn't take much to get that bait to swing or glide. There you go.
Got another one. This one's good.
What do you got?
This guy's staying a little lower now.
Yeah, look, it's getting bigger as it's getting to the boat.
Yeah. Yeah, another chunky one about like the last one there.
Yeah, it's kind of cool too how that ebbs and flows, where that pitch and puppet will be hot and then all of a sudden the jig fires up. We're a good team, man.
Yeah, I hear you.
You know, so a lot of times when we're fishing like this with a glide bait, you know, a lot of times I'll have rods laying next to me with either, you know, say like a jig and a half crawler, maybe a slip bobber and a leech. You know, have something next to you that complements, think of it as a change-up complementing a fastball, in the sense that you're gonna catch the most aggressive fish with that glide bait, but sometimes, you know, not all the fish are aggressive, obviously, and, you know, sometimes I can vary time of day. And so when you have another angler on the boat, it works really well to just throw two different things at the fish, okay? And so I'm throwing the pitching puppet where I can cast out a lot further, I can get down to the fish faster, I can hit those fish right away. Arden's coming in behind me with a jig and a half crawler or a jig and a leech. You could use a slip bobber at times, maybe a jig and a plastic at times, but just something different. So the fish that I can't catch with that aggressive presentation, he comes in behind and catches those fish. And you'll see trends or patterns emerge through the day. Every day is going to be different. Some days the big fish will come on the pitching puppet, but you'll catch more fish on the jig and the crawler. Some days you might catch a few right away on the glide bait, and then the middle of the day get into a lull and it's a deal where you got to use live bait or a jig and a plastic. But you know, it's just a deal where you're giving these fish different options, because a lot of times you're seeing multiple fish, and so if fish doesn't hit presentation A, switch up to presentation B. And it's a lot faster when you have another person in the boat. That gives you a big advantage as far as figuring out what these fish want.
So today we've been kind of going with a couple of different styles here. Jason's going with the pitch and puppet, and it's got a little bit of weight to it. He's pitching that out a little further and bringing that back. I'm going with the tungsten stand up here and tipping it with a leech and just kind of running that along with a little bit of finesse, kind of cleaning up behind that pitch and puppet. That's been working really well for us. And this is kind of that 1-2 punch. There we go, guys.
All right.
This
Fish is digging on you, huh?
Big one too.
Oh yeah, there's a nice one. Good stuff. Yeah, we're kind of throwing a little 1-2 punch here. I'm throwing the pitch and puppet. You're going with a jig and a leech or a jig and a half crawler and trying to see what these fish really want. Oh. Try not to botch the net job. That's a beautiful fish. Look at that. That is a gorgeous Diefenbaker walleye right there.
Nice, yeah.
Nice job. Yeah, that is gorgeous. They got a nice build on them, don't they?
Yeah, just another beautiful Lake Diefenbaker walleye. I sure love fishing this fishery. You just never know what you're gonna get. One cast you could have a 13-pound walleye, and lots of chunky walleye like this as well. So it's just great. It's such a great fishery. Boy, that's a beautiful color on that fish.
Nice work.
There she goes. Oh, that's a good one.
That is a good one.
Yeah, you bet.
You know, we're just kind of scooting around and just looking for fish on the forward-facing sonar, and I mean, some of these schools are impressive. I mean, there's just a lot of fish, and there might be situations where all the fish that we're looking at aren't necessarily walleyes, but and I think if you didn't have forward-facing sonar, I think if you just ran along these points with the bottom balls or maybe slowed down through a butterfly blade, maybe a spinner harness, plain hook, and a leech, you'd probably catch all kinds of fish. But it is amazing how big some of these schools are. It's impressive. There you go, what do you got?
It feels a little bit decent.
Oh yeah, that was a nice fish.
Oh, there we go, giving it a little run.
Water just clear enough where you can see down probably 6 feet or so.
Yeah. Oh, this guy sure has a lot of energy.
Yeah, these fish are bulldogs. There we go. Nice work.
Nice. That's a good,
Nice work.
good one.
Yeah,
Just another great chunky walleye there.
they are. They are fun. Catching a fair amount of fish too. I mean, this is good fishing. There we go. There we go. That was a cool strike. That fish just pinned it right to the bottom. Let's see what we got here. Oh yeah, go ahead and come on in here and net him.
That looks like a good one.
Yeah, good enough to be fun. Oh, it's a little foul hooked on the side. That's why it's fighting so hard. But
Yeah.
oh,
Ah, come on, you turkey. He's really getting the best of us.
yeah. Well, I just made a comment. That fish pinned it right to the bottom,
Okay.
and that's the thing. These baits hit the bottom. Those fish just suck them right out of the mud. But that being said, sometimes you'll snag them in the face, and that's what happened with that fish. All right, well, just show her off here quick and give this fish a pardon. Oh. Yeah, that is fun. All right, I'll get her in the water here. There we go. You know, these glide baits have been kind of a popular thing in the walleye world. I don't know, probably maybe even 10 years now, but started with people using jig and wraps, and now there's, you know, several different kinds. There's puppet minnows, tikka minnows, there's shiver minnows, hyper glides. This here's the pitch and puppet. This is one of my favorites here, at least if you're casting, especially if you're casting away from the boat. Now, a couple of things. I like to run about a 15-pound fluorocarbon leader on the bottom here, and I usually just tie with just a Palomar knot direct. Some people use snaps, but I just find that just tying direct, so you get a little bit better eye placement. I always put a really small swivel at the top, and then I go to 10 or 8-pound braid. That swivel is important because they have to fall on slack line. If you fall on slack line and this line wraps around your rod tip, it's going to cost you a lot of fish. So just put a small swivel above the lure, pop it, let it fall on slack line. There's a lot of variation, but very effective way to catch fish come midsummer.
This time of year, as the water warms up, we're definitely hunting those walleye on the tops of those structures and just where those structures start to drop off on those cliffs. They're basically foraging off of shiners, and that's where we'll want to hunt them. They're going to gravitate to that colder water and that little bit of deeper water, but they're in those shallows and in hunting those shiners. That's where they're going to be, and that's where we'll try to pinpoint them in the summer. Got him. Looks like a good one.
Yeah, that'd be one for the live well there. Oh yeah, that's a nice one. Oh yeah.
Nice.
I just love catching fish on those. That is fun.
So much fun. Yeah.
All right. Thank you. These fish do not like captivity. There. There you go. What do you got?
I'm not sure yet.
All right, I'm coming with the net here. I'll gladly be your net
That's
man.
a nice walleye.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Got a little fight to him.
They do fight hard. Look at that.
Yeah. Okay, I'll lift.
There we go. Nice.
Nice.
That's a beautiful fish, Arden.
Yeah, I see that. I misjudged him at the beginning there.
We've caught a lot of fish today, you know what?
Yeah, my
This
arms
has
are
been
getting
fun.
tired.
This is good fishing. Good living. Glad we're able to finally come up here. You know, and so this is drive-to fishing. I mean, this is something anybody can do. From Devil's Lake, North Dakota, where I live, you know, I think we got here in less than 8 hours, and we had to stop at the border, you know, where most people would just get waved right through. It takes us a little longer because we've got all kinds of camera gear, and we're up here filming a show, and so we got to go through some additional paperwork. But it isn't that far, you know, for a lot of people, you know, and I think a lot of people would really appreciate this in the sense that phenomenal fishing, beautiful country, and it's just something different, you know. I mean, it's just a really cool part of the world. I mean, it's one of the prettiest lakes that I've ever seen. I mean, it's just beautiful, rugged, just expansive, massive. And there's hardly anybody out here. It's just unbelievable how take a lake that is this good, that is this renowned, and you hardly see anybody. It just blows me away.